From Variety, celebrating more than 118 years covering the business of entertainment, this is the Award Circuit Podcast. Jessica Gunning had already seen a play by Richard Gadd when she first heard about his project Baby Reindeer, and she immediately knew she wanted to be involved somehow.
And then I'd heard about Baby Reindeer and tried to get tickets for the stage show, but it was fully sold out. So I actually bought a copy of the play and read that, which is a little bit Martha of me. But and then was like, what an incredible story. And so I was always really fascinated to know if it was going to be made into a TV show, how it would be, translated for the screen. And then when the scripts came through, I just read it in one go and went to the audition just absolutely kind of almost begging them to give me a chance to do it, because obviously it's such an incredible part.
I'm Michael Schneider. On this episode of the award-winning Variety Award Circuit Podcast, we talk to Baby Reindeer star Jessica Gunning about the series' surprise success and what that has meant to her. Also on this episode, we chat with Silo star Rebecca Ferguson. It's all next on this edition of the Variety Award Circuit Podcast. Stay close. Based on Richard Gadd's one-man Edinburgh Festival play, the 7-episode series Baby Reindeer follows Donnie Dunn, played by Gadd, a fictional version of Gadd himself, as he tries to transition from barman to comedian while being stalked by Martha, played by Jessica Gunning, who sends him thousands of emails and harasses his family and girlfriend.
There you are! You cowardly, two-timing fuck! The nerve you showed me the other night, rubbing that skank in my face.
All right, that's enough, Martha.
You've made an enemy of me, Reindeer. Make
Martha.
no mistake about it. I hope you know what you've done in wounding me like this.
I can see you're bleeding. Deep wounds. Who was it?
Martha, can you let go of my hand now, please?
I want names.
Martha, please.
Names.
Martha, please.
Names.
Martha, please, let go.
Don't you dare!
Baby Reindeer breakout star Jessica Gunning could never have predicted the impact the British drama series would have, but she's certain it's making a difference for future stories and those who see themselves in the characters. The Netflix limited series has surged into the spotlight, capturing significant attention and cultural impact. Gunning has emerged as a potential frontrunner in the Emmy race for her stunning portrayal of the enigmatic stalker Martha Scott. In recent weeks, a Scottish woman claiming to be the inspiration for Richard Gadd's hit series has sued the streamer, seeking at least $170 million in damages. Whether this will affect its awards prospects remains to be seen. Variety's Clayton Davis sat down with Gunning prior to that lawsuit to discuss her role as the lawyer-stalker Martha on the hit streaming series. She discusses the nuanced portrayal of life's messiness and complexity as depicted in what roles she'll be seeking next. They began with Clayton asking her how this whirlwind of the last few weeks has been for her.
I mean, it feels like a bit of a dream. I was saying to Richard last night, actually, we caught up because I got here yesterday. I was like, I could never thought it would be like this. I mean, when I read the script, I did actually think it's probably the best thing I've ever read. Mm-hmm. And then when I first watched the show as a whole, I was like, oh, this could be pretty special. But I thought it would be a bit more of a kind of slow burn, niche, indie thing. And then suddenly it's just exploded, which is incredible. I'm so pleased so many people are watching it and responding to it.
You probably thought it was going to be, we have a movie here, like Room. So it was going to find its audience like decades later.
Yeah.
But it is... I mean, listen, again, I am pretty wrapped up in Emmy season and Oscar season, but usually I look ahead at some things that are coming. Baby Reindeer, not even on my radar at all. So the poster didn't even like really, I was like, oh, okay, that sounds like it could be cute. Yeah. And then other people just started like, did you see Baby Reindeer yet? I'm like, no. They're like, I think you need to watch Baby Reindeer. And it's wild. It's wild. It's I throw it in, it feels like a mixture of like some horror movie, but meets something like as smart as Shattered Glass.
Wow.
Of like a real life account of something that happened that you almost wouldn't believe if it wasn't like actually real.
Yeah.
When you first read it, I guess, what was your conversation like with Richard about this being something personal to him, and how did you identify with Martha?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd heard about Richard a few years before I got the script because I'd seen a show of his at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival called Monkey See, Monkey Do, which was a show he did where he was on a treadmill for about an hour and he was actually telling the story of what happens in episode 4. And I remember just thinking, wow, what a brave play, what an amazing storyteller. So he'd always been somebody I'd really admired. And then I'd heard about Baby Reindeer and tried to get tickets for the stage show, but it was fully sold out. So I actually bought a copy of the play and read that, which is a little bit Martha of me, but and then was like, what an incredible story. And so I was always really fascinated to know if it was going to be made into a TV show, how it would be, you know, translated for the screen. And then when the scripts came through, I just read it in one go and went to the audition just absolutely kind of almost begging them to give me a chance to do it, because obviously it's such an incredible part. I've never read anything like it before, but also just the bravery of him telling this story, including episode 4 as well, and merging the two plays together. It's just amazing. Yeah.
When what was the scene you read for the audition? Like what scene did they, I can only imagine what scene they gave out.
Yeah, so we did about, over the period of about 4 months, we did about 4 auditions, because I think it was really important for everybody, Clerkenwell Films, Netflix, just to make sure the chemistry between us was right, because I think you could play Martha so many different ways, and I think it was just about getting that little dynamic between me and Richard right in terms of the characters of Martha and Donnie. So we did the cafe scene from episode 1 and also the zipping up scene, and then a bit later on a bit more of the further scenes, like the scene with Terry and things like that, just to try and make sure we could get all the dynamics right, because there's obviously so many sides to her. Yeah, and so many things that happen.
So again, like looking at this and utter surprise here, when you see the reception, you see that it's like the #1 show on Netflix. I think last week it was 800% week over week.
Wow.
And still probably gaining traction. What was your initial like reaction? Was it like, yeah, I knew it, or was it like, oh, this is going to kind of change? Because then people started Googling you and want to know who you were. Like, what has that felt like?
Yeah, that's felt so strange, because I've been working in the UK now for about 17 years. I graduated in 2007 from drama school, so I've been kind of plodding along a little bit, and I've been in amazing things and had incredible opportunities, but I've never done a show with such a reach. I think that's the thing about something like Netflix, is you forget how many people it reaches. Something like 260 million accounts. And then on top of that, not everyone watches Netflix on their own. So there's also more people in the room as well. And you just think those kind of numbers just
those
blow
family
your
plans,
mind.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
They spread.
Yeah, so it's just incredible. And for it also to have such a universal reaction as well, I think is really interesting. I think it shows that audiences are really hungry for kind of messy stories. Things aren't black and white and tied up all nice and neatly with a big kind of happy ending bow. It's a little bit more complicated than that. And I think it shows that people are ready to watch that and able to kind of handle it. That's awesome. Yeah. I
should have actually started here, but I want to get to know you a little bit. Like, who is Jessica Gunning? Like, where did you come from? You're on loan from heaven, I assume. Yeah. Like, what brought you to acting? Do you remember like the show that did it for you, the movie that did it for you? Tell us about you. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a little village in Yorkshire called Holmfirth, which is famous because there was a TV show over in the UK called Last of the Summer Wine, which is a bit of a kind of, I suppose, a comedy about 4 old people who get up to kind of antics every week. And it used to be on a Sunday night. So it's a very kind of wholesome television show. But still to this day, people come and visit the village and go and see all like the famous spots where it was filmed. So I suppose I've always grown up around being a big fan of like television in general. And we've got an amazing kind of comedy scene, I guess, over in the UK, but I also have been so influenced by American films, American comedians, Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett, all of those people have been a major influence.
I've never really heard of them, but yeah. But I heard they do some pretty good work. You have to go make sure you visit the Brady Bunch house while you're here.
Oh, wow, amazing.
It's like here or somewhere in the area.
Yeah, incredible,
General, like kind of normal growing up life? You know, mom, dad,
Yeah,
siblings?
mum, dad, a little brother and a little sister, and I'm the eldest of 3. Yeah, my mum was an English and drama teacher. She's retired now, but yeah, so I used to go and watch the school plays at the weekend when I was younger, and that was always like so fascinating to me and so exciting. And then there was an improv group called Crag Rats that used to do after school clubs for kids to teach us how to do improv, which was amazing for a kind of small village. So I got the bug there, I think, really, and then went to drama school. Yeah.
What was your first role on screen that you ever booked?
I think my first on-screen role might have been Doctor Who Series 4, Episode 1. Yeah.
Look at that.
Back in the day. Yeah, I did 2 plays as well at the National Theatre was my first kind of acting job. And then, got into doing a bit of TV here and there. And then I was in Law & Order UK, played Ange, the CCTV lady, as you know.
Oh,
you know?
Wait, listen, I need to say this right now because she's listening to this. My co-host, Emily Longaretta, is an avid Law and Order stan.
No
like,
way.
Dick
Well, she
Wolf.
might have seen Law and Order UK.
She probably has.
Well, there we have
and
it,
now
yeah.
that you said that, she's going to be rooting for you even more. Law and Order is a filler for the industry and the longevity of it.
Yeah.
Just giving her some ammo. No, that's awesome. And then now, I'm sure it's not absent of you to notice that you're sitting here with the awards editor of Variety because I feel, and I don't say I feel, I don't like to jinx stuff, knock on wood, but this late bloomer in the season, this show has become in a very competitive landscape, especially in limited anthology series. The last 5 years have just been competitive in that space. And this show really landed in a significant way. And there's a really good chance, I think, you might hear your name called in July. And I know you don't do this for awards, and no one ever, I know you didn't do this one for awards thinking that it was going to blow up like this. But what does it feel like to maybe have that happen for you? What does that mean?
Oh my God. I know it sounds such a cliche, but genuinely, even to be here having these kind of chats with you is just crazy to me. I thought that, like I say, I really thought everyone would love it, but the fact that Emmys are even being said in the same sentence as the show, I was, completely overwhelmed by it. And it's so exciting to even be considered to be put forward for a nomination is an honor. So whatever happens. But I'm just so thrilled that it's got such a great response.
You have to go against Fiona Shaw.
I mean, wow.
She, have to take her down. That's what we got to do. Let me ask you about Martha herself, because Martha is, as we're watching tonight, I watch it with my wife, who loves docuseries and murder series, and she thought this was a murder series because she's been taking notes on how to get rid of me extensively for quite some time. But we were watching it, and by the end, we were just like so floored by Martha, the character, and looking in the context of the limited series, because we're supposed to like hate her, but we don't. We actually like are rooting for her to like be okay, or just get it together, or whatever the case may be. It's remarkable to your acting and the writing, but how did you balance this act of someone who's clearly mentally ill versus someone who like just wants to be loved and have a boyfriend and
I know.
have it be a baby reindeer,
Yeah. Well, that's why when I responded so clearly to the script, I was just like, oh my God, please, can I get this? Because I just saw her so clearly. I think Richard's writing is amazing. He's created a character like I've never read before. Somebody so nuanced and yes, flawed and damaged, but also there's just a strange kind of hopefulness to her, and really interesting, like the fact that she can see things in him that not many people have. When she says somebody hurt you, didn't they? I just think that's such an incredible, insightful observation of her. And I think that they both find each other at a time in their lives when they really need each other. I think that she's a bit lost and alone, and he kind of is as well. And Donnie admits even in the show, that he's flattered by her attention, and he starts to pay her compliments back, and that's when it gets all messy and muddled. But like you say, I never ever saw her as a villain or a baddie. Actually, one of the unit drivers was early on trying to grasp what the show was about, and he said, I drive 2 villains on this show. And I was like, oh. And then I thought, oh, he means Tom, who plays Darry. And I was like, yeah, you drive Tom. And then genuinely for about a full 3 minutes, I was like, who else does he drive? And I was like, who else do you drive? Like, I was really racking my brain. He was like, you. And I was like, who has told you? And I was like, okay, I need to calm down here. But I was so like shocked because I never ever saw her like that. And I think especially, the voicemail she leaves at the end as well, that for me just got me every time. And that's the kind of crux of her, really. And that's the thing that always used to move me so much. I just had to read that and I would be,
Jessica Davis wept, was weeping. Listen, I cry and stuff too, but when she cries, I always make a little fun of her because at that point she was like trying to figure out if she like was really loving the show, and then when she bawled, I was like, there you go, we got her, fine, got her over the finish line. I guess in preparing for the role, I mean, fair assumption that you didn't talk to Martha, or did you look her up to try to get a gauge of who she is and or anything like that?
No, I actually don't know anything really about the person Martha's based on, just because the character was so clear to me. I didn't want to muddy it. I didn't want to change who I thought she was, and
or invite that into your life too.
Yes,
that's fair to say
as well. And luckily Veronica, our director who kind of set the tone for the show, Veronica and Josephine were amazing directors. And Richard, they thought that the balance I had found for her was right. So I didn't want to complicate things by learning too much that would change my view
or
of
trying to imitate her.
Yeah, I'm not doing an impersonation of somebody. I'm doing like my interpretation of the character of Martha. So, like I say, everything was kind of there. I was spoilt for choice, really, because all the clues about who she was were in the script, all the voiceovers, and that final voiceover, I think. And also that scene where, she wants to unzip him and took herself away inside. I think that kind of captured the feeling of her, which isn't menacing at all. It's actually quite childlike in some instances. She finds like a safety with him that I don't think she has elsewhere in her life, which I always found really moving.
You said something very profound in an interview, I believe it was with Daily Beast, or they quoted you saying like, please don't look for Martha on social media. It's like, and there was these social media trends that had started. They were like, if you're looking for Martha, you didn't get the show. Like you're not understanding what the show's about. And you didn't, and you were, it came off very protective of Martha. You were protective. Why did you do that? And what did you feel when you knew that people started like trying to Google?
Yeah, well, I think when Richard's been extremely brave and open in how he's told this story, and he's been very honest and hasn't painted himself out to be this kind of victim who did nothing wrong. He's kind of been messy in this, and even admits all of that. But this is told solely through his point of view, solely through the eyes of Donnie. And so when you're playing a character in that, all you can do is go based on the script. And it's not, obviously, as it says, it's an emotionally true story, but it's only told from Donnie's side. So I think you, like I said in that interview, you do kind of lose the essence of the point of it if you. But I understand the impulse for sure, because everyone is fascinated, like you say, with true crime and all this kind of thing. But this is a little bit more complicated than that. I think it's a bit more delicate and a bit more nuanced. So yeah, to take it as it is, just for a piece of work, I think is the most important thing.
When you look at some of the, because I was calling this show one of the most tonally whiplash shows I've experienced in some time.
Yeah.
In a good way, because I love to be surprised when I'm watching shows. But as Jessica, my wife,
great name.
I know, great name. I think that was half the battle there, one with you. But we were watching, 2 episodes in, we're like, this is hilarious. Like, this is,
so
like,
funny,
even though we have a little bit of odd, like, I have a lot of things about like having panic attacks while I'm watching something. So I was like, oh my God, something's going to happen. And then it takes like the hardest right into harrowing drama that I've experienced in some time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which I think is a brave choice by Veronica, the director, Richard as a writer.
Yeah.
And then the way it chooses to depict Martha in that second half. Was that on the page? Did you know it was going to take that type of turn? Because it starts off so incredibly, like it's a straight up comedy when it starts, and then it's something else.
Yeah, and I think actually the inclusion of episode 4 is really important in the whole picture of the show, because I think it makes the viewer understand Donnie a lot more. Because I think when I was watching it as well, you think in those first 2 episodes, even episode 3 as well, you think, why is he doing this almost? Why is he allowing this into his life? Why is he kind of reciprocating some of these compliments and things? But then I think once you realize what's happened in his life, you completely understand him better as a character and as a person. So I think it's a really clever, important thing to include. And then almost, I remember in the read-through, actually, it was kind of silent when we were reading episode 4, just because it was just so, I've never really read or seen anything like it. And then when Martha comes in at the end of the episode, you kind of go, God, thank God he's not her. Yeah. And it's such a strange feeling to have, but you do. You go, oh, thank God for her.
The crazy's back, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, hold on a minute. What am I
I've been
saying?
looking for you.
Yeah. So, and then obviously it takes a turn again when we're in the kind of section where she's sitting outside his house for a long time, and that shows a different side to somebody who's consumed with obsession and the sadness, and it's like you say, somebody who's mentally not very well. And I think it was it's a real roller coaster of a journey, but a very cleverly told one for sure.
Well, one of the and again, this big testament to Richard's writing. It is incredibly brave to be as vulnerable to say, like, because the reaction to normies after they watch the show is like, he's so messy, and it's like, yeah, like, and he like,
you watch the show?
He blatantly says it. But one of the most tender moments is when he like wipes the snot from, and it's like. And in a way, I'm like, never you're rooting for them to be together, but you're just kind of like, I kind of wish they could just be friends. Like, I wish they could just like be, but then you start asking yourself, like, but if she was like, quote unquote, like not herself, if she wasn't mentally ill, would they have had that same connection? And it's like this kind of vicious circle. You almost have to remove judgment. Did you do that as reading? I mean, what were your thoughts initially of like Donnie, quote unquote, actions? Were you ever like, did you go through a roller coaster feeling like, I'm mad that you're like kind of leading her on, or mad that you're engaging, like just set her free? Like, did you have any of those kind of battles?
I didn't really have much a battle with that, just because I think as a character, she's so endearing and actually really funny and a massive contradiction. So just when you think a certain thing, she'll say something or do something, you just think, oh my God, fascinating. This idea that she's got to go, places to be, all of that is so sweet in a way. And I think it's not harmful. So I think it's so easy to kind of be drawn in.
Yeah.
But even that amazing moment in episode 1 where after the comedy show, he looks back when he's about to either deny or confirm her Facebook request. He looks back to his bag of props. I think that's such a clever turning point, because it's his admission that he's almost going, she helped me then with the show. She actually made the show better. She could be, I suppose, material, or let's see what happens. And I think that honesty kind of is out there, so you can't really judge, because he's been so clear about the role he played and paid her compliments and flirted back, and it's all there. So I don't think and I think that's the messiness of it, and that's the thing that's so interesting about the show. And actually about for her reaction, when she's preparing for her next comedy show with him and learning more songs, in a way that makes sense, because she's like, but I made that show better by speaking out and singing. Did you not hear? And I think that's what just kind of draws you in every time. I think just when you think she's one thing, something different happens.
Oh, yeah. Talk about your co-star, Nava. Who beautiful addition to the show. I believe you only have one scene together, and you're not very nice in it. That's the only time I actually got really mad at Martha. But I was describing this to someone, and I said, there's this like kind of Hollywood trope that we always call a character. Sometimes we're like, oh, the manic pixie girl, and it was funny that she kind of like fits that mold of like, she's like the beauty supportive system of him that is trying to like be the rational one. But then she even has a decline because of an action that Martha takes upon her. Where did you see that line? Like, I guess, what's your interpretation of that fight that happens between you two and the characters? Is it true hatred that Martha has for people like Terry, correct?
Terry,
yeah, Terry.
yeah, Terry, yeah.
People like Terry, or is it just overwhelming obsession with baby reindeer and the fact that anyone could take him from her?
Yeah, I think that is the thing that leads it. And then obviously what's triggered is potentially past traumas that kind of get like forced out in a way. I don't think it's a deliberate attack on her race or anything. Obviously those things do come out in a horrible way. But I think as soon as she sees that, you know, this person she's so connected with is with somebody else, I think it's almost like she just sees red and just cannot process it or compute the fact that. And also I loved on the day, because I think I'd always imagined when I read the scene when Terry tells Martha to F off that it'd be quite throwaway, but the way she did it so pointedly really did make me be like, okay, all right then, this is going to be a fight then. It was so method of her. But I think it was such an interesting dynamic, and Terry's just a great character because she also helps the audience understand where he's at. She's kind of the voice of reason in the show, really. But also, tragically, obviously, the thing that he says at the end as well is that, you know, he couldn't fully love her. And I think that's just so heartbreaking because you just want him to be happy and have somebody like her. Yeah. And he loses her as well. So it's just an amazing performance. And obviously that day was really hard, but we had a great fight choreographer to kind of help us make sure everyone felt safe and things.
Ready for action movie soon?
Yeah, ready for my, my Marvel film next.
Looking now to the future for Jessica Gunning, there's going to be, I can only hope and assume that you're here in LA right now, in addition to campaigning and promoting the show. Maybe you're going to take some meetings and maybe you're going to talk to some people about, you know, potential roles and things you could do. What does Jessica want to do in this biz? What kind of movies, TV, like what is it that you're looking for in this career?
Who the heck knows? I mean, I never expected any of this really. So somebody said, did you think of Martha as like a springboard? And I genuinely never did, because I literally don't think I'll ever get to play a part like this again. I think she's kind of the role of a lifetime, really. I don't think there's going to be any other Martha parts out there, but I'm up for anything really. But I really enjoyed, I do a TV show with Stephen Merchant called The Outlaws. And we're on season 3 of that's about to come out at the end of May, and I was in the writer's room for that, so that was a really interesting thing to be part of. So
you're writing some stuff
some things as well that might be in the pipeline. Yes, so that's quite exciting. But yeah, the world's see what happens next and see what comes through. But I remember when I did this film called Pride, I said this the other day, but I do genuinely think it's true. Imelda Staunton was in this movie Pride we did. And at the end, she said, if we never work again, we can say we've been in that film. And a bit of me feels like that about Baby Reindeer. You know, if something happens where nothing comes in now, I'm just so proud to be part of that show, really, genuinely.
And Imelda Staunton also in the Emmy race this year. So you guys will have a little reunion.
Majesty, yeah.
There you go. What would, again, looking... There's something profound. I should have asked you this before, but something very profound that Richard does in shining a light on sexual assault in a way that's very honest and raw, but something that we don't see very often when it's depicted through a male gaze. And it often goes unrecognized or just not talked about because there's obviously everyone has their own reactions to it. Where did you find that? How did you connect to that? Because that's not something that's shared with Martha at any point directly. I don't think Martha knows of episode 4.
I think she senses something.
She senses, but she never. He never confirms it to her. I wanted to make sure I was correct about that. But how do you reconcile that truth, knowing that your character doesn't know, even though she senses what it is and doesn't know what it is? What is your feelings on Richard sharing something so deeply personal and something that's so hard for a lot of people to talk about? I
think it's incredible. I mean, I knew he was an amazing actor and a really brave storyteller, but when I watched episode 4, I really was blown away at how raw and kind of exposed he was, and how much it must have taken him to do all that. But actually, since the show's been out, he said he's a patron of a charity over in the UK called We Are Survivors. And he said the other day that they've had something like an 80% increase in phone calls from men. And I think sometimes you do TV and film and theatre to help people escape or for light entertainment. But then occasionally a project comes along that might even change lives. Sorry, it's getting a bit emotional.
Yeah.
But I think it might do, you know. I think that's amazing to be part of something that is making such an amazing kind of reaction and people feel seen for the first time. And that's just his bravery, really, that's done that. Yeah.
The homie Jessica. Great. Final question as you leave me, because I'd spend so much time with you if I could. I need to ask you, what's your dream role? And I want you to really think about this, because I'm gonna put in some phone calls. I know everyone listens to this podcast, but I want to know, like, if you could pick a role for yourself tomorrow, what is it? Because I even had some ideas for you, but like,
okay,
because when the show came out, you don't understand how many. I'm sure you saw it and read about it. So many Kathy Bates Misery comparisons.
Yeah, very nice. She's amazing.
I went very lovely, and I said, if they, not that they should, but if they ever decided to do Sister Act.
Oh, wow.
Kathy Najimy role, who's one of my favorite characters of my childhood. Perfect for you.
Amazing.
Can you really sing? Like
I like to sing. I don't know if I can really sing, but yeah.
Because Martha, because I don't know how much you were trying to make Martha a little off key, but I was like, I think she might be able to. What's the dream role for you?
It's funny because when I was at high school, we did some plays for a thing called GCSEs over there, which was like exams. And the funniest thing is I chose to do Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? As you do. Yes. And actually that's a Martha as well. Mm-hmm. So Elizabeth Taylor, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, is one of my favourite things ever. So that would be amazing.
Elizabeth Taylor's gift
she's
to us all.
Yeah, absolutely great. Oh. But I just love the idea of 15-year-old people with whiskey glasses. We were just shut up, George,
Yeah.
Really in character. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. And we found old footage of it the other day and I was thinking, oh my God, isn't it so funny with Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? But yeah, not that I only want to play Marthas now, but no, that's the Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf would be amazing. But yeah, anything.
We can do it tomorrow. Yeah. Do it tomorrow. Spielberg, whoever you are, just do it. And then I want to give you the opportunity. It's not a question, but a message for people listening. Even for, I don't want to say to Martha, but the Marthas of the world that might be hearing this, what do you want them to know about your experience working on Baby Reindeer?
Well, I think, like I was saying earlier about messy stories and complicated things, I think that the thing that's connected people the most to this show is that life is messy and complicated and people make mistakes and do things that potentially they will regret. But I think when you watch this show, hopefully it's told in a really nuanced, honest way that that the takeaway isn't bad and good. It's a bit more complicated than that. Yeah. So I'd just say, thank you for watching, and thanks. So many people are coming up and chatting to me in the street and saying what the show meant to them. So that's just lovely as well to hear from everybody liking it. So yeah, thanks.
From Jessica Gunning, sent from her iPhone. Do you have an iPhone?
I actually do, yeah. And I've started to put that there. No, it's a shame. Yeah.
Fine. Can't be perfect in every way. No, but thank you for spending this time with me.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, lovely to talk to you. Thanks.
That's Jessica Gunning, star of Baby Reindeer, now streaming on Netflix. After the break, we talk to Silo star Rebecca Ferguson. From Los Angeles, this is the Award Circuit Podcast. And we're back. It's the Variety Award Circuit Podcast, and I'm Michael Schneider. Rebecca Ferguson is both executive producer and star of Silo, the Apple TV Plus series set in a dystopian future where the outside world has become uninhabitable and humanity lives together in an underground silo. She plays Juliet Nichols, who begins to question what life outside their contained existence might be.
Don't you ever think about the world beyond the silo?
What if what we see is not what's out there?
Done a mechanical
There's always someone who has a theory about the silo. I need to find out the truth. I found something that might hold the answers to a lot of questions.
You have to stay quiet. And keep your head down.
Are you willing to give everything you have for this? The clock is running. There isn't much time left.
This is a threat to order in the silo.
I don't care about order. What about finding out the truth?
Some mysteries are best left unsolved.
In her quest for answers, Juliet ruffles some feathers and catches the eye of those in power. While many people would be happy to follow the status quo, Ferguson says she relates to this aspect of the character. Variety's Janelle Riley recently spoke with Rebecca Ferguson about Silo, and they began with Janelle talking about how she had a moment mistaking her for Rose the Hat, her diabolical character from Dr. Sleep.
Hi there. I know. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
How we really, I mean, I still do. I do with actors, even though it's my world. It's like it takes 2 seconds for your brain to kind of go, not real, television, yes, of course, move on. Oof, human being.
Like when you're working with like Hugh Jackman in Greatest Showman, is there part of you going like, oh my God, that's Wolverine?
No, absolutely not. I'm like, Hugh, sit down, stop it. Hugh, put your shirt on. Stop it, Hugh. That's me and Hugh.
That's amazing. That does sort of lead me to ask, though, what do people want to talk to you about most when they see you? Because you've, obviously got Mission Impossible. You've traumatized us all with Dr. Sleep.
I mean, I think right now we're doing Silo, so there's a lot. And the love for the show has been, it's not that I'm surprised. I think for me, I never have expectations. But being on the producer side with the people, I am more a part of the show, and my dedication to the show has been gastronomical. So I love when people are excited. I walk down the carpet for Mission, and we do the premieres, and people are screaming Silo.
Love that.
I know. And I think just that my heart there's so much love for the show and for the characters. And it's also what I'm doing right now. I just wrapped season 2.
Woohoo. Tell us everything.
So, no. But yeah, I think I'm so lucky. I'm in so many cool projects right now that dipping into talking about, the Reverend Mother and Dune or Mission Impossible or Silo. Come on. Let's do it all. Where do you want to start?
What's this Dune you mentioned? I'm not familiar with this.
I know, Dune. It's a cheese.
Directed by Dune Villeneuve.
Did you see it?
Of course. Yeah. I'm embarrassed to admit I went to a screening and they turned the lights on before the credits were done. And I was like, you have to turn those off. I'm still crying.
Oh, no. It's like when they amp the light up when you're out clubbing and you're like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Did not see you like that before.
Yeah. Reality too soon. I am curious, though. Have you been a sci-fi fan yourself? Because between Silo and Dune, and I would even say Remembrance, you've become a sci-fi icon.
I know.
Oh, you're not happy about that?
No, I get it. I made my own bed by the choices of character, but it's a funny one. I have these conversations with my team because obviously it's down to me what film I do and why I do it. But I have the most extraordinary team, and I constantly talk. We have discussions, etc. Even my husband, I involve people in the process. And the characters that I have fallen in love with have actually been a part of something bigger, whether sci-fi or futuristic or post-apocalyptic, etc., etc. And now I'm very careful. Like I'm now doing a film about AI.
I love that.
Some sort of it's futuristic, sort of where could the world go, etc. And it's kind of sticking. I don't know if the characters are more compelling. Mm-hmm. It's not what I'm searching for. I'm looking for small indie. When I mean indie, I mean when the director has the power over his own material. When you read a script and you think that is the film and no one's going to change it, that kind of a film.
I mean, bringing it back to Silo, the character of Juliet is just so. I'm sorry to use this word because it's cliche, but whenever anyone talks about her, they're like, she's so badass.
She is badass. I know. I'm quite strict with journalists, especially when they go, so do you like strong characters? And I go, what is strong? Stop it. Let's move on. But she is badass.
And dynamic. Because there's a difference between strong and dynamic.
And also the word badass doesn't mean that she constantly is out struggling and doing cool shit. It is decisions. It is consequences. It's rawness. It's sadness. But it's constantly meeting something hard and getting over it and finding a new solution. And that's sort of the heart of the character. She's sort of a lone wolf. She lives in a world with mechanism and tactile, solving tactile issues, right? Not emotional stuff. And she's taken from this world and thrown into a situation where everything has to do with human interaction. And she is not comfortable with that environment. And seeing her evolve through that is badass.
Yeah. And she sometimes makes choices that, aren't maybe the best for her emotional health. And I'm one of those people who's we were talking about conspiracy theories. Part of me is like, I don't want to know. I want to live in my happy bubble. Give me the fake virtual world. I'll take it. She makes choices that hurt her emotionally. And I admire that. I could never do that.
I think what's interesting and something we talked about with Graham and the directors, but mostly Graham and the writers, we have the most incredible writers' room, and they're writing whilst we are acting. They're constantly working, these people. It's phenomenal. And then one of the writers will be on set as sort of the show running writer, so that when things change, when you change a small thing, there's a domino effect for everything else, obviously. These people work incredibly hard. But it's the changes that happen are not... What I love about the character is she kind of is selfish in the beginning of this show. It is solving issues that is hurtful for her. But the gradual realization that, it's not just about one human being. It is actually the bigger picture, and it actually is about the whole shebang. It's all of us. I just find the evolvement or the evolution of a character the most interesting.
Are you like that at all? Because, like I said, I would be the person who would be like, I need to protect my boundaries in my space, so I'll just choose to believe what people are telling me. I wouldn't push, basically. I'm like, I'm a happy sheep.
No, I provoke. But I provoke out of curiosity. I don't provoke to activate something and be mean. I question all the time. Like, I'm married, but I'm not religious. I got married because it's something fun to do. But the ring, for me anyway, a lot of people might not agree with me, the ring doesn't hold me closer to my partner than if I didn't have it. If I've chosen a partner, I love this partner. The ring is something else. It's a lot with children and politics and finances, but for me it was like, other people's done it. Let's try it. Not until death parts us. If you mess up and I mess up and we move on. It's life. It's organic.
I love that you said fun, because I have no interest in being married, but I would love to have a wedding.
But that's the thing.
Fun.
Well, that's the thing. So for us, we got married in an orangery.
Oh, wow.
And it was a female, not a priest. I don't know what the other word would be, someone who has the right to. And we changed the wordings completely. And I rebel a little bit. Yeah. I did naughty things that other people wouldn't agree on. But my thing is, I will ask people when they go, I'm going to get married and then I'm going to have the children. And I go, why? Why? I just want to know why. Why are you following suit? Why aren't you making your own rules? Why do you stick to something that we're evolving away from? And I find it interesting. I love the questions.
What do they say? I'm dying to know.
Different. Some people, if you're religious, I do not judge. I love that people have their own belief, as long as it doesn't harm other people. I hug trees, and I do, and I love energies, and I believe in being kind. That's it. I don't believe in anything else. But everyone has different reasons. Some people pause and they go, the worst answer, I think, is because it's what's supposed to be done. Mm-hmm. I find that unintelligent and really quite locking, like stuck. I love when people feel a bit provoked by it, because it's not a question that you're supposed to ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would question.
We need provokers and questioners. I'm actually trying to think, have you ever played a character who wasn't, in search of answers and willing to put themselves out there?
I'm thinking.
I mean, maybe.
Funnily enough, I think me as a person will always crack through what I'm interested in with the roles. So when I read scripts, I will always break down why they're doing things and how, etc. And maybe a bit of me will come through. Like, I don't accept things that I don't understand. I need to understand it to do it, right? I don't like being controlled. And if it makes sense, then I'll do it. But yeah, I think a little bit of me will crack through.
You mentioned that the writers are writing at the same time you're shooting Silo. Does that mean when you came on to season 1, you knew how it was going to end? Did they give you a heads up?
Okay. Yeah, so basically they will write the next season, and they're ahead of the game.
Oh.
So when we are ready to shoot, it's done. Everything is set.
And because you're a producer as well, so I assume where it's going.
So we know the whole story. But there's quite a lot that can change. If there's a radical change because of location, etc., we have to be in this room. Well, why are we in this room? What brought us into this room? We have to now backtrace, and we don't have much time to do it. So we kick in. We've had Jessica, Kate, Eric Avellino, these incredible writers who are at the same time in the evenings going and doing Silo season 2 or whatever season they're writing on. I'm on the barricades for writers. I find them extraordinary. And we don't understand how much they work.
Have you ever had any interest in writing?
Absolutely not.
Too much respect for them? Or
No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm acting. Yeah. I have respect for other actors. I'm just not. I don't believe in myself as a writer. That is not where my forte is.
Okay. Well, we'll keep you busy with the acting anyway. I am curious, and I'm going to get into some spoiler territory, but I also feel like I'm warning people. It's been almost a year.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, too bad. You lose.
Pause this,
Don't
go watch
spoil
10
too
episodes.
Much.
No, but I am curious.
No, go for it. Let's have fun.
All right.
Turn off and start watching the episode and then listen to this interview another time, okay?
At the end of season 1 ends, with sort of this cliffhanger where Juliet goes out into the quote unquote real world and starts to see what is true and what is not.
Yeah.
Was it now because you do know in advance what's going on?
Yeah.
As a writer, as an actor, is it hard to keep that sort of naivete? Like to play the I don't know what's happening when in your mind you do know. Do you kind of wish you could be a clean slate?
No, because that's what we do in any film. I mean, if we do Dune or not a lot of scripts, but in other films where we have scripts, there's definitely the whole story. You know what your arc is. I need to know where my arc is so I know how to build it. But what I do and what I like is, if I have a big reaction scene, and I always offer this to other people as well when we act, I can see it. I don't walk onto set and go, I'm not going to look at what, no. But I'd love to just walk it emotionally, not rehearse it, and then put cameras on and then grab the first reaction. It's always nice. It's always nice to kind of, in quotation mark, react for the first time for real. But there's an incredible amount of CGI. We have so much visual effects going on. The bodies that are there, the skeletons and etc., they are phenomenal, but we're doing it times 10,000. So sometimes when I've seen it, I've thought, oh my God, I didn't realize how huge it was supposed to be. Did I act accordingly to that? That's kind of, I sometimes think I have to be more ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I totally understand that because I think that green screen acting or acting opposite CGI is some of the most underrated acting because it is hard to do.
It's really hard. And I also find it's a really close friend of mine called Bonji, Paul Giovanni. He works with the CGI team, visual effects, with a guy called Daniel, and Daniel's phenomenal. They're the guys who do all the behind the scenes, the visuals, the silo, the effect of the hugeness. And when we do interviews, it's like it's cliche. It's supposed to be like, oh no, we have no green screen, or no, we have no blue screen. And it's like, what? We have Oscar-winning people working in this department. What we have is the merge of the most incredible set design, the hugeness of these stairs. I mean, we can run 4 or 5 loops of these stairs that are real. Everything's real, farmland. But then they do the magic that makes it ginormous. And that's what's incredible. You know, I often go to them to see images. I want to look at what they're going to create so I can sell what they are doing. And that's my job. I like, it's a merge, you know.
One of the many reasons I could never be a real actor is because anytime I try to do any sort of reacting to something, I just feel silly, you know, because it's pretend. And so I have such a respect for actors because I know half the time you're probably acting opposite a tennis ball and things like this. And, you know, having to respond. Do you ever sort of feel a little silly sometimes?
Yeah, of course we can feel. I mean, I can feel really silly, but I have no problem verbalizing it now. So I can say, right, stop, everyone. I feel super silly and I don't know what it is. Is it the writing? Is it me? What am I doing? Does it look stupid what I'm doing? Like my body, the movement, my facial, my accent? Help me. But I have zero problem about making fun of myself. Like, I use humor constantly as a defense mechanism, and then I go home and cry. No, I'm kidding. I'm super vulnerable in many ways, but we create, and you have to release that, you know? But yeah, I think also the tennis ball thing, I don't know if I've ever worked with a tennis ball, a creature. When we do creatures, like The Kid Who Be King, there was a lot of things that were up in the sky, and we all needed to look at certain bits at the same time. But other than that, I try and I will move the cameraman, which is hard for him. If we have a close-up and the camera arm is in the way, like I'm moving now to show you that I'm hiding behind the arm of the mic, I will try and always find an eye so that I have something to. And sometimes you can't. You have to look into the box. Very different, because the depth of sight changes when you have a camera in front of you.
It probably also helps to have these great directors. I mean, you have Morton Tildum on the show, you know, who you can trust and like make you feel like you're getting it right.
Yeah, we have. I mean, also we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different directors on this show.
Wow.
So, and they're all different, and everyone works differently. And because it is such a huge show, we don't do anything in consecutive order. So you will have one day episode 5 with one director and 2 scenes, and then you have to go to episode 3 with one director, and then you go to episode 9 with one director. So you need to have everything screwed on. I mean, it's fun. It is, and they all are different. And they all work differently. That's where prep work is so important.
Yeah, I was going to ask, as an actor, how do you chart that? I know some people who actually have like spreadsheets.
I do.
Good.
I do. I have to. I don't have it with me. My binder is color coordinated after directors, so I know that which director is what episode.
That's brilliant.
But then, to be honest, I have no problem adapting very quickly to people because I am me. So I'm not going to change the way that I work in that sense. I have a technique and it's who I am. And they figure me out and I figure them out. And it's a dance when we read scripts and rehearse. And it's quite easy. You just kind of get into it. When things don't work, you just have to be verbal.
What do you like in a director or not like? I mean, everybody's a little bit different. So what one actor might prefer doesn't work for another. You have to work with so many personalities.
For me, less is more. I find over-communication very tedious and tiring. But I also do say it. Like, I'm far too sharp. I go, it's words, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Give me one word for the emotion of this take, or I like... It's how I work. But if I work with directors who have certain ways, I adapt to them. This is their set. It's not... It's a balance. I know when I can say, stop, too much, give me a word.
Yeah.
I know when I don't say that. And I know when I'm quiet. because I'm not getting something that they're asking. So it's me needing to adapt.
I mean, talking things to death is my least favorite thing. And I feel like everything should be an email. Like we don't need to
hence
talk
this interview.
out.
So thank you very much. And we're out.
No, but there's actually a very famous story about an actor who told his director, from now on, you're only allowed to give me one adjective and one verb when directing me.
Very similar to me.
Yeah.
I say it, and I've come to the conclusion that when people try and overanalyze things for me, or when they want to give me the character's history by showing little props about their childhood, it bugs me. I'm not interested. I'll do that myself.
Yeah.
But I'm also very clear in saying that from the beginning. I'm not an emotional character actor in that sense. I figure it out myself. But if I'm not getting something, I need to also be very humble to see what they can offer me that makes me better. You know, it's a dance.
And how did you come to acting? Because I've heard you say you never really acted until the first time you did it professionally.
Yeah, I never did. I did a casting for a soap opera that my mom sent me to, and I think I turned it down once or twice.
Wait, first audition, you book it and you turn it down?
Something like that. I'm not going to, it sounds insane, and it might not have been exactly that. So let's stick with a no. But I do know that I loved the casting, and I loved the guy who I was working against because I had a bit of a crush on him. He was like a heartthrob, like those young shows. We had one called Bullen in Sweden.
Oh, yes.
And Bullen was like, hi, my name is John, and I'm 15, and I have a question. And then they make this little show about his letter to the magazine, and he's having issues with maybe his body odor or whatever. And this actor called Kim Sulocki, he was always in these films. So I had grown up watching him, and he was the male lead in this show. So it was obviously on many levels very exciting to be working against him.
So that's what got you into acting, was a boy?
Basically, well, the character, Kim Sulocki. No, he was so kind, and we just ad-libbed, and we had fun, and we played. And I remember the casting director and someone there. It was just me, Kim, and two other people, a camera. I'd never acted. And he was like, I'm here, let's listen. What if you just listen to me? I'll listen to you. Let's just have fun. And I forgot everyone else in the room or there. And I loved it, but it made me scared.
Sure.
And that's why I said no. And then they came back and we did again. And I thought, why not? Let's just try this out.
And did you think after, booking your first role through your first audition that this was going to be easy?
No.
No, you knew?
No, I never assume. I never predict. And I've never been eager. And it's maybe a bit of a downfall. I think people who are more driven could be maybe more interesting as people. I'm not meaning to push myself down, but I have never been super ambitious as a person. I'm someone who feels, and I go with a gut. I have never thought about the world of Hollywood. I've never needed awards. I've never needed things. And it's been tricky because I'm not strategic. But I'm happy. Things have happened very organically, one after the other. Like I got that job. I did that for 1.5 years. And because we were only shooting for 4 months of the year, my stepdad, I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have anyone. My stepdad was my lawyer. And he was like, well, you're taking out of school, so you have to then cover for the rest of the year. So what is she going to do? And the production company, they were like, well, she can work behind the scene. And I was like, great. So I worked at the film production company that made the TV show.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I did music videos. I did the scheduling. I wrote some of the lines. And then I went back in again.
So you are a writer.
I wrote what other people wrote. But I just can't, one thing generates something else. And then there was no work. So I worked in a Korean restaurant. And I learned about my favorite dish, which was bibimbap. I worked in hotel rooms. Yeah. I constantly move.
Mm-hmm. Have you always been like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like I used to be, and now I'm like, again, I think what we're learning here is that I don't need to explore anything.
With you?
Yes. I'm fine. I'd be happy in my little silo.
Really?
I think I would, yeah.
So I think for me, I'm very much a hermit. I love my home, and I have very weird tendencies and stuff. But I need a good entrance to my house, for example. I need to, when I rock up home, walk, cycle, drive, I need to look at my home and go, I want to go inside that door, right? Architecture, design is very much a part of my life. And I need a garden, and I need my secluded area. But I know because of my work, there's so much exciting things out there that every time a job comes, it's like location, children, what can I give my kids? Are we going to Morocco? That's fantastic. Like, my world is not for me only. It is for my people.
Mm-hmm. That's where we're different, because I'm very selfish.
Are you?
Yeah, it's just me and the dog. As long as my dog is taken care of, everything else is fine.
You're like, I care for no one. I wish to explore nothing, and I actually hate talking. But other than that, I'm a fantastic
2 out of 3, you're right. Yeah.
journalist. I like this interview. This is good.
I am. Do you mind? I don't want
Keep
to
it going.
expose if people don't know you're claustrophobic.
No, expose
okay.
it. We just did.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't. I was going to cut around that if you wanted me to.
No problem.
Yeah. No. The funny thing is, I'm not
quite
shy.
happy people know, because if they listen, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, good to know." So she will take the stairs when she comes.
This is so funny because as claustrophobic as I am, I hate exercise more than claustrophobia. So for me, I will take elevators only because it's...
Dude, you are not claustrophobic. You are... That is not...
I've gotten a lot better, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, a lot better.
So I've tried hypnotherapy. I have done therapy. I have not done... The next thing I'm going to try is EMDR.
That's it.
Right.
That's what worked for me.
Right. Okay.
Yep. 2 years going on it now.
Really?
Yep. And also, I don't know if you've heard of brain spotting.
No.
But it works in conjunction with that.
And then people go like, well, how was it like shooting Silo to bring it back? And
that's what I was going to ask.
Know, but it's like, come on, it's a location. It's sets. I know my exits. Mm-hmm. I check. I'm literally like a human Jason Bourne. Like right now we're sitting in a box, and clearly in this country, you guys don't like having windows that open, because they box you in with glass windows, which is just silly. Silly, silly, silly. And then we have big doors that open inwards. So if we're locked in, I can't kick it out, right?
Right.
So we have to leave it ajar a little bit.
You analyzed
open.
all this walking in. You said, can't kick that door out. Yep. No.
Going to public loos, it's an issue.
Yep. I see, and this is the funny thing, is that people are like, that must be so hard for you to adapt your life. And I'm like,
I just check. I have people, wonderful people around me who
How do they like taking the stairs all the time?
Constantly.
I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay.
Also, they take lifts. They do whatever they want to do. We're free spirits in this team.
Okay, so they say we're going to take the
They do whatever they want to do. We're like, if they want to go in the lift, they go in the lift.
Yeah.
I'll walk and I'll see you upstairs.
That's how I am. I don't want to, infringe on anyone else, but also like, I don't have any problem making adjustments because I know I'm right.
Oh, well, I don't go that far. I think for me, my issues, I never feel with my people that I am an issue for other people.
Yeah.
Because I'm very verbal about it, and they know they can do whatever they want, and I do whatever I want. As long as we're there in time, and then I have to get there a bit earlier and start walking.
Yeah, that's what I do. I take it upon myself to be like, I will take on the onus.
Yeah, but it is an issue sometimes. And we have to constantly talk about which floor we're on. Are there fobs? Do we have keys? Do the windows open? But it's good. And sometimes I get challenged by them saying we can't control that. And I go, okay.
For me, I don't know if this is what you do, but I try to streamline my day so that I only have to like go downstairs once or twice. And
I think about butt exercise. I go, yeah, Tom Cruise, I remember once we were walking up the stairs and he went, booty, to himself. Booty, booty, booty. Or if it was his trainer who did it, I can't remember. And I thought, that makes complete sense. I had another trainer called Sam Eastwood who trained us for Mission Impossible. She's a phenomenal Pilates instructor. And she said, I skip upstairs. There will be a time in my life where I can't. So why wouldn't I do it now? She takes 1 or 2. I mean, heading up to the 15th floor, I'm not bloody skipping, am I? But she says, I focus on using it as my daily exercise. So
that's smart.
Yeah, why not?
Going to dip back into spoilers real quick. At the end of season 1, we see that there are, spoiler alert, other silos. Is there anything you can tell us about what was going through? Because again, we're talking about maybe acting opposite a green screen. What's going through your mind when you're being told, okay, you're looking at, something shocking?
That, isn't it?
Yeah.
The job for me is to make the story come to life. And the thing with acting for all of us, but I don't like speaking for anyone else, but it is to not preempt what is coming. It's giving yourself time to breathe. It is giving yourself, and sometimes when you walk over the hill, which is a sandbank, and what you're facing is a camera and the entire crew and a blue screen, it's constantly living in your imagination and giving yourself that slow realization. And if it doesn't work, you cut and you go again. There's a moment when you go, oh, now I can feel it. Oh, here it is. But sometimes if you're too aware that it's happening, you're like, oh my God, I'm acting. Fuck, I'm acting so well. And then you're out of it and you go, oh no, damn it. Start over again. It's retakes. Everything is about moments.
I really wish we had video of this because I'm watching you as you're describing this. You're actually doing it. I'm seeing the realization come, and it is some fantastic freaking acting.
Stop.
It is.
But it is. One of the favorite scenes is, for goodness sake, Vera Drake. And that one take that I think a lot of actors refer to is when she's being captured and they're having a dinner inside and she's doing the illegal abortions and all of it, right? And there's a knock on the door and she opens and the police are there. And I think it's like a 2-minute scene of her being happy and then completely realizing and then understanding and then all of this.
Yeah.
She's doing that to a camera, basically. But it's all in your mind, you need to make the thoughts real.
Sorry, Vera Drake. Imelda Staunton. I often think of the line where she just says, I help women.
Yeah.
And just bringing it up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
same.
goosebumps.
Chills.
Yeah. And look where we are today.
Well, that's what
not much has changed here.
Because this is so crazy, but just like 3 weeks ago, I rewatched it.
Did you?
Yes, just
That's
for this
so
very
weird.
reason. Yeah, and it's like when you said Vera Drake just now, I was like, no one's talked about Vera Drake in 10 years. And I literally watched it 3 weeks ago.
Very topical.
Very topical and one of the great, I don't want to say forgotten performances, but if people aren't familiar with it,
need to watch it. I refer to it a lot. I often say, oh, you got your Vera Drake moment.
I love that.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's just giving time. We don't do that much in film now.
Yeah.
Give time and feeling, emotion. That's what you have to give to yourself when you don't have anything else to act against. It's your own mind.
That's Rebecca Ferguson, star of Silo, now streaming on Apple TV+. And that's it for this edition of the Variety Award Circuit Podcast. Aaron Greenewald edited this episode, and Michael Schneider is the producer. Be sure to subscribe to the Award Circuit Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Also, head on over to Variety.com and click on the Award Circuit tab to find the latest awards predictions and key races, as well as your daily fix of news, analysis, and reviews. For Jazz Tanke, Emily Longaretta, and Clayton Davis, I'm Michael Schneider, and we'll see you on the circuit.